Hi, Canada, and welcome to POP TikR TV. As many of you may have heard, Premier Doug Ford announced that Ontario is shutting down for a period of time in terms of school closures due to the surge in COVID cases. So, in light of that, we wanted to talk about this latest sort of closure and sort of the state of the province and how it affects Canadians, the community here in Ottawa and across the country, local businesses, and wellness and mental health. So we just want to bring a special guest. Mr. Abbas will be joining us to discuss his initiative and also the state of the province and how we could rally together. So he'll be joining us in just a few seconds. Hi, Abbas, how are you?
I'm amazing. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, you're most welcome. So I'd love to get an intro for those who are watching and may not know sort of the depth of involvement. I mean, you're very involved in local business. So tell us more about what you do.
I do many things. I'm involved in real estate. I'm involved in construction. I'm involved in the hospitality industry where I have a lot of restaurants and a lot of bars. I also make medical grade masks as well. I'm all over the board. I have many businesses in many different sectors.
Right. So I mean, you would definitely know sort of, the fluid motions of up and downs happening here, not only in Ottawa, but across the country, really. So with this latest news, I mean, obviously it's tough. Any thoughts on, what certain business sectors, some of the impacts they'd be feeling? I can imagine some businesses won't be affected, others might be deeply affected. Any thoughts regarding that?
I really feel sorry for the people starting out. I think about when I was starting out. If I was starting out right now, I don't think I could make it. I'm very lucky. I've started a while ago, and I've built like a real backbone, if you want to call it. So I'm on a solid footing, with my real estate and stuff. I really, really feel sorry for the people that have like one business or one store. They're going to get really hit really hard. And ones that are starting out, a lot of people that just formed a business a year ago or 2 years ago, and they've got financing. It really, really hits them hard. What a lot of people don't know, I think, in the public, is they just assume that the government's helping us out. And I want to start off by saying that we live in the best country in the world, and the government's doing a great job in helping us. We're really grateful for all the wage subsidies and rent subsidies, but it's not enough. So if you just start out a business and you have, debt finance, if you have leases or you have loans, sure, the government's helping you with rent and they're helping you with wage subsidies, but what happens to all your debt financing? And what do you live off of, right? So I'm lucky that I don't have any debt financing, but I think of all the people that do and how tough it must be for them right now. And I hear stories all the time, like every day. I get people calling me, kind of cry on my shoulder or for advice, and they're borrowing money from all the relatives. They've maxed out their credit cards, and they're borrowing from one card to pay off another card, or they're borrowing off their cards to pay their debt financing. That's really tough. So it's really, really tough, and it's really real, and they're fighting a real struggle out there. And I would like to say, anybody from the public that's watching, I know, there's a lot of businesses out there, and I just want to tell you that they're really hurting right now. And all the business owners are learning, they're lost, they're confused, they've got their life savings into this thing, and it's really tough on them.
It is really tough, and I think, that's one of the reasons. I mean, when this pandemic came to Canada about a year and somewhat ago, I started a page on Instagram, POP TikR, that's our movement. It's, about support local. And what we really wanted to do was, do our best at a very community foundational level of being able to spotlight and have Canadians rediscover local businesses. And I think we were all, and even myself, we were all under the impression that, okay, this thing's like maybe 6 months away, it'll all end. And I think from a mental wellness perspective, I think, businesses too, right? They sort of saw, okay, another 3 months, okay, another 6 months. But now we're at a point, it was, and I've said this before, it was like, it went from a support local movement, which is now like, let's save local, right? It's really like we're at like survival. And I wanted to sort of bring that segue in terms of the initiative that you have just more recently launched, seeing the reality of the businesses. So tell us more about that project, the Canadian Small Business Survival Association.
Yeah, so a lot of people reach out to me to kind of get advice, and my door is always open. I try to help as many people starting out as possible. And after hearing so many stories, there's no one at the table representing small business. So, all the big airlines, all the automotive companies, all your Amazons, all these companies have a seat at the table with government, and they can actually affect policy. But there's no one helping to affect policy at the government level on behalf of small businesses. And, the government has these great programs for a lot of small businesses, right? That, where they have rent subsidies, wage subsidies, grants, but they still have money left over because a lot of the small businesses, you could have like, I own some real estate, and in some of my real estate, I have a dry cleaner, and he's this wonderful, wonderful Asian couple. I love them to death, but they barely know how to use the internet, and we're helping them to access all these grants. So there's no one at the table right now to tell the government that there's a big sector in the business community that doesn't know how to access the grants. There's no one speaking on their behalf. Some of the grants, even though they're very well intentioned, are unfair. There's a lot of businesses that started after they started, but if you don't have sales pre-COVID, you don't qualify, and that's not really fair either. So it came from hearing all these stories, and I just wanted to create a group that represented small businesses that could be at the table, with the mayors across Ottawa, with the premier, and also hopefully with the prime minister, to make it fair. And I think small business is pays the majority of taxes in this country and employs more people than anyone, more than Walmart or Costco or anybody else, right? But there's no one representing them, and there's no one helping to fight for them, in my opinion, during COVID. So that's where that idea came from.
I love it because, I mean, statistics show, I think it's like something like 97%, over 97% of all businesses in Canada are small. And
Yes.
so it's this massive segment, but yet it's decentralized because they're all small, right?
Yes.
But they are the majority. So I love what
Yes.
you're doing because you are providing that collective force,
Yeah.
and you're bringing their voice to the table. And that is critical because, we look at sort of the more recent lawsuits on big corp, right? The anti, competitive,
Yeah.
right? That type of stuff. And it is scary because, when you really think of our cities, the heart and souls, I mean, these are incredibly talented Canadians, artisans, masters of their, product, that are being affected. I remember someone saying that it's not those corporations that are gonna put your kids in the soccer programs or the hockey programs or Canadian Olympians, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it affects everybody. So I
Yeah.
think what you're doing is just incredibly amazing, and I thank you for doing that.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, we just want to, I mean, for us, we just want to, we want to be at the table with all levels of government, and we just want an honest plan. So if you are going to shut us down, then just tell us you're going to shut us down and be honest with how long, instead of keep saying it's next month. Because what happens when you tell everybody it's a month, they go and they borrow enough money for a month, and then it's 2 or 3 months, and it just creates. So we want honesty. We want honesty. We want fairness as well. If the federal government and the provincial government are going to do all these subsidies and grants, we definitely want to get the fair share for all small and medium-sized business. It can't all go to the big corporation that have a seat at the table. And we also want to come up with a plan for Ontario and hopefully other process to open safely. Let's be at the table, and I think we can do a lot of recommendations. And I feel sorry for all these politicians. There must be like a million things coming at them, right? And they're doing their best, and they can't, they don't have the expertise in everything. No one does. But if we're at the table, we can help them to open up Ontario safely, and just giving them some ideas that we want to, and we do want to open up safely. We want to open up safely. We don't want to put anybody at risk. But if we're at the table, I think we can address all those issues.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you have a really good point there, right? It's really about bringing, collective expertise to
Yeah.
this, one voice so that we can do things right and at least more efficiently, right? I know some of these closures, yeah, it's fluid, right? I mean, everyone's monitoring the cases, but, having shutdown notices just, a few days or 24 hours in advance when restaurants have ordered tons of food, anticipating the long weekend, we don't have the systems in place to sort of deal with that. And, somebody having to lay off employees, and when are we coming back? We don't know. So how do
Yeah.
they survive? So it's like this, right, domino effect that cascades.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's happened to me. Every time there's a closure, you go out and you buy all your food, you buy your beer. Beer expires after a while. The food goes bad. you hire people, then you let them go. And now I'm actually keeping my essential staff, because if you lay them off, you may lose them. And when you reopen, they're not there. That's a real issue. They have to feed their families too, right? And some of them can't live on CERB or unemployment. So I've had to keep my key staff, my key managers, my key chefs on full time, which is a huge expense that not many people can maybe carry. So it's not just the food, and it's also how do you keep your staff? And you lay them off, and then they tell you can open, and how do you reopen again? So there's a lot there's a lot to deal with for sure.
Yeah, and I remember, this actually local Ottawa restaurant, Becta, he was doing an interview, and it was amazing. I mean, how much love they have for it's a family, right? So
Yeah, for sure.
he was talking about having a meal program for some of the staff that, he had to at one point let go when he had to close the restaurants. And now again, he was able to pivot and he was able to grow Canadian jobs
Yeah,
again. And I think he employed about 70 new jobs. So that was nice.
yeah,
But definitely, I think it's a time for Canadians to, and this is what I wanted, and I'm glad you came on board, is to really get that message out that, let's, as hard as things are, let's keep it positive. Let's figure out a solution,
yeah,
and really come together. So for everyone who's watching, and I will share this video on our social media channels, if you are a community organization, if you can help, whether it's for local business, whether it's for advocacy, wellness, health. I've seen a few caremongering groups to help with the community elders. Leave your association or contact information in comments so that we can sort of share these resources and help one another out. I think that's important.
it really is.
Yeah. And so before we sort of head out, Abis, I just wanted to ask you, how could Canadians get involved in terms of local businesses with your association? What do they do if they want to get on your board?
Yeah, it's called the Canadian Small Business Survival Association. They can look us up online. They can join. We're trying to get small businesses across, as many small businesses we can across Canada. We're going to be outlining our exact strategy by Wednesday. So we have a site on now. You can go online and see what we're all about, what we're trying to do. But we're going to outline the strategy we're going to propose to governments on a local level, provincial level, and federal level. And we're hoping that mayors across Canada will give some tax rebates to all the small businesses. That helps out a little bit. We're hoping that the provinces can do more and the federal government can do more. And we really want to come up with a plan that works for everyone to open Ontario safely, but not, create as least amount of damage to the economy, people's lives as possible. So we're going to have all that up on the site. And I just want to say to any Canadians watching, please just keep in mind the small businesses. They're having like a real tough fight, and we're all in this together. I tell my staff that this is our modern day war, that COVID's our war. Every generation had, there's World War I, World War II, there's Vietnam. This is our war. COVID is real and it's a war, and Canada's never had anything like it before, but we're all in it together for sure. We have to work with and we have to work with the people to open Canada safely. And although COVID is real, it's very real, but so is our economy. And we want to try and do as least amount of damage as possible in a safe way.
Absolutely. I think you really, projected that well. And that's sort of, the collaborations are happening. And it's, again, I think, Canadians, it is a time to unite and rally and be patriotic and really see how you can help out. And so that's what we're all about as well. So if you're a local business, Main Street business, and if you're a Canadian, hop on to POP TikR on Instagram. Again, our, vision and mission is, we're over 37 million strong, Canada. So come rediscover your local shops, and the next time you spend that dollar, spend it on a local business and invest in your community. So
Awesome. Thank you.
awesome. So thank you so much, everybody. Keep well, keep safe, and keep positive. Be there for one another. And thank you, Avis, for your time today. And we'll talk to you soon. Cheers, everybody. Good night.
Thank you.